Alrighty, good morning, guys. How we doing? You guys are having a good morning. It is May the 4th, and Thursday morning, May the 4th. So, hope you guys are having a good morning. Today we are going to be in Psalm 58, and I believe I'm going to finish up Psalm 58 today. Let me see. Yeah, we are. So today's a bit of a rough one, kind of. At least on the surface, it can seem a bit out of hand. So let me go ahead and we will jump in. I'm going to read this passage to us, to you, to me, and just make a couple observations of this psalm. So this is King David singing, reading this, praying this. He says, "Break the teeth in their mouths, O God. Lord, tear out the fangs of those lions. Let them vanish like water that flows away. When they draw the bow, let their arrows fall short. May they be like a slug that melts away as it moves along, like a stillborn child that never sees the sun. Before your pots can feel the heat of thorns, whether they be green or dry, the wicked will be swept away. The righteous will be glad when they are avenged, when they dip their feet in the blood of the wicked. Then people will say, surely the righteous still are rewarded. Surely there is a God who judges the earth." So, a little harsh on the surface. Phrases like break their teeth, may they be like a stillborn child, may the righteous dip their feet in the blood of the wicked. And, from a 21st century American, worldview, that can seem like, wow, David, you're really being a little bit of a psycho here. And maybe he is. But let's remember the context of this psalm. David is writing from the perspective of making observation against very wicked leaders who are taking advantage of innocent people. And the reality is, man, there are some people out there that are toxic. There are some people that are out there that are just evil to the core. And my son, who's in the 7th grade, in the 6th grade, he's just recently been studying the Holocaust. And I can't remember what the numbers are exactly. I think like 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. And the reality is that there are people out there that are just evil and do atrocious things. And that's what David is dealing with here. He's dealing with people that have done terrible things. And he's just crying out like, God, where are you at in all of this? And can you please bring your justice? Can the righteous, those who are living in a right relationship with God, like, is life fair? And, where are you at in all of this? And oftentimes, isn't that our prayer? We want to be protected. We want justice. And this is what David is just simply crying out for. And he's using some really harsh language here. But you can understand where he's coming from. Now, how do we relate this to our lives? Obviously, I don't necessarily want to pray this prayer for my enemies. Jesus calls us to bless those who harm us and to pray for those who persecute us. And so for me, it's simply this. Here's how we relate it. David isn't saying, hey, I'm going to take justice into my own hands. David is just simply saying, God, bring justice. And this is how I'd like you to do it. And I think that for us, what we do is when Jesus teaches us to pray for our enemies, he's essentially saying, God, you bring justice. I'm going to live in a posture of not judging, because at the end of the day, the scales are not on my end either. Like I'm out of right relationship with God too. And so I'm going to pray from a posture of of mercy and blessing on those that are my enemies, and yet know that God is a just God, and that his mercy sets on righteousness, on justice, and that you can't have mercy without justice, and that God is the one who's going to bring that and figure that out, and that you and I don't have to live with that pressure of trying to fill that role. And so for me, it's simply forgiving, loving, and trying to always show mercy, yet at the same time making sure that if the relationship is toxic, that I try to stay away as much as possible, because some people are just toxic, and there's no reason to expose ourselves to that. We can be loving and merciful towards people and still not expose ourselves to their mess. And then obviously for people that live under persecution, it's just praying and praying and praying. And I think for us who live here in America, who don't suffer the persecution that other people do, I think it's our duty to pray for them and ask God to intervene on for them, and we leverage our faith for them, if that makes sense. So I don't know, kind of a harsh psalm this morning. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Yeah, so it's Thursday, and so it's Thankful Thursday. Be thankful today, and to just spend some time just thanking God for the blessings that you have. And then, how does this psalm, I guess, how does it invite you or challenge you to think differently? How do we deal with injustice in the world, and how do we relate to our enemies? And I think that it's always on this side of the cross, Jesus teaches us mercy, and yet knowing that God will bring justice in the end. So hope that makes sense to you guys today. Be thankful today. Gonna jump off here. I feel like I'm ranting. So blessings. See you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye.